Man, these asymmetrical games are sure just the same when I play them. I want a fun, new, original, and well-balanced asymmetrical game. All of these just suck. Wait, what's Terra Rome? Well, I'm glad you asked. Terra Rome is an upcoming asymmetrical horror game that includes 8 survivors and 1 killer that is inspired by games like Pillar Chase 2 and Forsaken. And you might be saying, oh, another asym game. How wonderful when so many other games are just based off around others. But before you start complaining, let me explain on why I like this asym game so much. But before I can explain why, I'll be explaining and observing the gameplay that we got from a live stream and video on trying to see and conclude on what to capture from this game. And this video will be covering a specific topic about Terra Rome, talking about the gameplay, survivors, killers, and content. Everything that I will say in this video will either be factual or not, because I can only gather information on a live stream and video, so don't take everything that I say true. Information aside, I'm going to be talking about on why this high quality asymmetrical horror game has potential. This section will be really short since there wasn't much things in the gameplay, so bear with me. So, the gameplay. It's nothing new from any asymmetrical game with having yourself spawn in and around and also having 7 of your teammates also spawn in and having to run around until the timer hits 0. There seems to be an objective panel on the top right of the screen, but it seems that it's currently unfinished and probably later on they will add objectives. And as the time of recording, there are currently 2 maps. The Forest, relating towards Draco Blockster, and Community Communications. But these maps just look really high quality, and it just doesn't seem that it's Roblox anymore with their high visual effects. Anyways, the gameplay is just like any asymmetrical horror game, and it's just simple and easy to sight read, but it's currently unfinished, so it may change during full release. So, let's start with the survivors. The survivors of this game are called convicts, so in lore, these characters declare to be guilty of something that they did to be considered as crimes. Lore aside, there are currently 3 survivors in the game, and here they are in the list: Rocketeer, Wando, and Bloom. And I will be covering each and single one of their moveset and what their abilities can do. The first character that I'll be covering will be Rocketeer. Rocketeer is the first character in Terra Rome to be played as a starter survivor. His passive includes on having 10 extra health, which is good for a starter survivor. This character has 2 moves, the first ability being a bomb trap. From which I can tell, his bomb trap ability can damage and disorient the killer. And the second ability being a rocket launcher that takes time to set up, aim, and fire that can stun the killer for a decent amount of time. What really makes this character so interesting is that his moveset can be a support and long-range stunner that can help others in need, including himself. For a starter survivor, I can pretty much say that this survivor is pretty well balanced, that can help others and himself to go against the killer, and including the extra health that he has. That's enough of Rocketeer for now. Let's move on to the next survivor, being Wando. Wando is the second character of Terra Rome, of having a gimmick that revolves around a passive. His passive is an adrenaline meter that is in the player screen and that can be active whenever you're near the killer. And when you are next to the killer, that meter slowly goes up. His first ability, Rush, can either be used to run away or grab teammates to pull them away from the killer, but needing a full adrenaline meter just to do that action. This is completely not true. You can use it whenever you want. So, yeah, I just wanted to let you know. And as I'm editing this, I may get stuff occasionally wrong as I'm editing this. So, everything in its full release can possibly change. So, don't take everything that I say seriously. The second ability, Punch, uses half of the adrenaline meter that can stun the killer for a decent amount of time. But if Huando misses his punch ability, he is given slowness. What really makes Huando very unique in my opinion is just having a meter that encourages the player to be active and get close to the killer in order to help other teammates, which is honestly a good idea. For what I can say for this character is that Huando is a skill-based character because he can either be punished for not being active or not helping other teammates. But if Huando is played correctly for his moveset, it can feel pretty rewarding if you are playing Huando correctly and get more action from it whenever you're helping out teammates. Enough of Huando for right now. Moving on to the last survivor, Bloom. Bloom is the third character in Terra Realm that consists of being a support for the team. Her first ability, Living Touch, summons a green orb projectile that travels to a near player who is in max health, and it will follow them until it makes contact, but basing on how far it goes, the farther it goes, the more it heals. Her second ability, Ivy Whip, from what I can conclude, Bloom uses her wand to spawn a heal spell around her, and it does it instantly. But if a killer is in her hitbox, the killer gains slowness if they're in that ability's hitbox. And the last ability, Verdant Veil, spawns a green orb, and whenever a survivor goes inside of the orb, they will be healed if they're inside of the orb. But if a killer is caught inside of Bloom's ability, they will be given slowness and be highlighted for other survivors to see. There is really not much to say about Bloom, but her being a support character for the team and having her moveset is really original and unique to make such a support character fun to play as. For what I can say lastly about this character is that Bloom can be really useful while another survivor is being chased, but because her abilities can go ranged and close ranged and slowing down killers, she is a unique support character for helping out teammates with 3 separate abilities, on having a different way on how to heal others and revealing killers. That's all I can say for Bloom for right now. Well, that's all of the survivors in the roster. Let's move on to the killers. Moving on with the killer side, these killers are called anomalies. So in lore, these killers are something that deviates from what is standard, normal, or expected. Definition aside, here's the roster for the killers in my opinion. Yuri, Draco Bloxer, and Guest 666. I will try to explain all of their movesets and abilities for the best I can, so bear with me. The first killer that I will be covering will be Japanese Girl, or more likely called Yuri. Yuri is the first killer in Terra Realm that is really basic and easy to learn for a starter killer. Her passive includes on having a gimmick that she deals more damage to one specific person in the round at a time. It will only show when they're highlighted in the round or whenever you are near them, and if it's the first person that you see in the round. And whenever you damage them, they're labeled as a partner. Yuri's kit is more based off of to focus on her partner due to the fact that all abilities and damage that she does can able to give more effects towards her partner. Her M1, Love Struck, deals 20 damage towards the person. I mean, it's at least good for a starter killer. Her first ability, Obsessed, makes her stand still, and once she is done, she starts dashing towards you at a really high speed and can turn her direction on wherever she goes. If it highlights a random person whenever she uses this ability, she has to go towards that person that is highlighted red. But if she goes towards a different person, she will simply push them away, dealing 10 damage, and she won't stop until she makes contact towards the person that they're targeting. If she lands her ability on the highlighted survivor, it deals 25 damage towards the person that they landed contact upon. But she can fail her ability by bumping into a wall or having the timer expire if she uses the ability for a long amount of period of time. Her second ability, Disdain, makes her lunge forward. If she successfully lands that ability on the survivor, Yuri will backslap that survivor, making them ragdoll. And her last ability, Perfect Pitch, makes where Yuri lets out a scream and highlights the nearest person closest to her, and she gets a speed boost upon doing that ability. If anyone was near her in that range of doing that ability, it gives everyone affected by that scream slowness 1. But if Yuri's partner hears this scream, It will force them to freeze for a short amount of time and giving them slowness too. Yuri seems like a really easy killer to learn about, and makes her playstyle to just target a person in the round and just to ignore everyone else. From what I can say for Yuri, is her moveset is fun and unique, and her playstyle centers around targeting a person in the lobby, and makes it easier later on in the round whenever they're not bothering you and helping their teammates out. But from what I can say for a starter killer, it's perfectly well balanced for a beginner to learn about Yuri. Well, that's enough for Yuri. Let's move on to the next killer, called Draco Bloxer. Draco Bloxer is the second killer in Terror Realm, on which he relies on a meter similar to a survivor like Kwando. His passive, Bloodlust, is where he has a meter on the screen where you have to fill up your Bloodlust meter by doing damage and using your abilities to get stronger every time to fill up your Bloodlust. His M1 slash deals 17 damage, which is pretty weak against survivors. His first ability, In Search of Bodies, makes Draco Bloxer go slightly invisible, turning him stealthy. And whenever the next time they appear, Draco Bloxer does more damage with their M1. The second ability, Feral Frenzy, makes Draco Bloxer do a stance, and whenever he's done, he'll start charging with an extremely fast speed that can turn directions that uses stamina. And whenever Draco Bloxer successfully makes contact when using Feral Frenzy, it deals 40 damage towards the survivor and fills up the Bloodlust meter highly. And lastly, his fourth ability, Dracodic Rage, requires a full Bloodlust meter to be filled. And if you do meet the requirement, Draco Bloxer then transforms into a literal dinosaur. Upon this transformation, it makes Draco Bloxer deal even way more damage to his M1, and him getting an additional stamina, making him a literal beast. What really makes Draco Bloxer really unique and different is that on how he plays out so differently of his gimmick being stealthy, while him trying to fill up a meter that can turn him into a hazardous danger towards the survivors. From what I can say towards Draco Bloxer is that his moveset is really fun to use of him being stealthy, and also his playstyle is just him being an ambusher, catching survivors off guard if played correctly. And it can feel rewarding playing as him when filling up your Bloodlust meter and just transforming into a literal beast. And in my opinion, that this is probably the most fair and well played style killer, just dealing high amounts of damage when sneaking up against survivors. Well, that's all I can say towards Draco Bloxer. Let's move on towards the last killer that we'll be talking about is Guest 666. Hey, so before I start this next section, I just want to give you a friendly reminder to like and subscribe to me, since it means a lot to me making these types of videos, and it can give some type of support that motivates me to make more videos like this. And also join the Discord server. Well, enough of delay. Enjoy the rest of the video. Guest 666 is the third character in Terror Realm of him being a trapper-styled killer. Since this section about Guest 666 will be short, I'll explain everything from the best that I can from what I observed. It is currently unknown that if Guest has a passive or not, but sadly I can't cover it. Moving on, let's see what his abilities can do. His M1, Grasp, deals 25 damage, which is really high in my opinion. His first ability, Unsound Insignia, is a trap ability where Guest 666 kneels down and places his trap in the ground. And if a survivor is really near the trap will explode that deals 30 damage, and it will highlight the survivor who activated the trap. And lastly, Sixer will get an additional speed boost if the trap was activated by the survivor. The second ability, Omnipresence, is where Guest 666 will summon an eye to place down wherever the player's cursor is. This ability acts like a teleporter for Sixer wherever he wants to teleport towards a specific location. He can only spawn 3 teleporters, which makes it where Sixer needs to wisely use his ability in order to affect the outcome of the match on wherever he teleports. Moving on, his last ability, Prosecution. Well, since there wasn't much gameplay for this ability being used, I sadly have to say that I can't cover this one since I don't have much information. But there was another ability for Sixer which I think was just scrapped, or it was just his last ability, Prosecution, all along. Well, I'll still have to cover it, so yeah. This last ability is called Sin Ascended, makes it where Guest 666 will send out a hook that seems to be a chain that is a projectile towards a survivor. But if it successfully hits a person, Sixer will pull on that survivor on who he just used his ability on, and he will deal 50 damage towards that person on he dealt damage upon. For what I can say for Guest 666 is that he really needs to be precise with his traps, because if he doesn't use them accordingly, it can lead him to losing, and not feel as rewarding since you need to play correctly for his playstyle. From what I can say towards Sixer is that he is one of the hardest killers to use in my opinion, and requires skill in order to play him correctly from his playstyle being a zoner, because if he doesn't use his abilities altogether, it wouldn't feel good playing as Sixer, since you need map knowledge on where to go and stop survivors in their tracks in order to eliminate them from the match. Well, that's all of the killers. Let's move on to the last section of the video, where I will be talking about the content of the game. So, the content for Terra Realm. From what I can tell, they already have skins for specific survivors and killers. And these skins really look high quality instead of asymmetrical horror games just having skins that are just fillers that make them stand out more. But for Terra Realm, I can say it's a masterpiece. My favorite being the Mr. skin for Guest 666 that is currently in the game. But my truly favorite being the Cool Kid skins, one in having skins related towards all of the sword fight of the Height swords that Cool Kid is using, but with different variations like the Firebrand sword being the original that Cool Kid uses when he wields it. It isn't just that it's high quality, it makes sense for Cool Kid wielding types of different swords while he has different appearances that relates towards the other swords that he uses. But it really just seems that Terra Realm is really strict with their skins, which makes it even better when they're really polished, and makes sense when the skins are just there. Skins aside, let's talk about upcoming content. The content that they have for up-and-coming killers and survivors, which I can pretty much say that it's a perfect roster for up-and-coming content coming into the game. Like, what do you mean Dust Sands is coming into an asymmetrical horror game? Like, doesn't that just sound insane? And also, they also had made first versions of songs that they were originally gonna use, but later on getting replaced with a remake. But instead of scrapping them, they use it for an old model for a skin instead of letting their work go into waste. Like, doesn't that just seem honest and creative when people prefer an old song over the new one? People do have opinions for these songs whenever they like old or new, but still keeping old songs instead of scrapping it is just genius. But the future of this game seems to have really high potential and can get some attraction if more people notice its current state. Glaze aside, Terra Realm has a really bright future ahead of itself, and in my opinion, has one of the most balanced and high quality asymmetrical horror games that I've ever seen that has original cast of characters for the survivor roster, and has one of the most unique playstyle gimmicks. Well, that's all that I can cover for Terra Realm. But dude, this game can get some competition with other games like this one. But we'll have to see that once it has its full release later on in the year. If I had to rate this game, it would probably be a 9 out of 10. The reason that it's 1 point off is it's still in its development stage. But it's good no matter what, because they're still showing off progress and gameplay that is honestly creative. But anyway, that's all of what I observed and my first impressions off of Terra Realm. And before I end this video, please show support by liking and subscribing to me since I only do this video by myself, which is honestly tiring in my first time doing a video like this on the channel. And join the Discord server that will be in the description of this video. But anyways, that's all of what I have for Terra Realm. See you in the next video if I even upload. Well, bye. Like a couple seconds.
Just that I just farted.